Chicago police changing how they conduct search warrants after an 18-month CBS 2 investigation exposed officers repeatedly raiding innocent families' homes.
Yeah, the mom of these children says it's not nearly enough. CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini showed her newly uncovered body camera footage of her bad raid.
It's 8:30 at night.
I see lights.
You're inside a police car on Chicago's South Side.
We're sneaking.
A team of officers zeroes in on a house. 14 heavily armed cops.
Swing up.
On the hunt for a heroin dealer with the street name Peanut.
Door's locked.
Did anybody knock?
No.
Good.
They just came in?
Search warrant, Chicago police! Door's open. Going in. Watch the right.
But they are breaking into the wrong home.
Police, everyone, go!
And all they find are innocent children.
They had guns to our faces.
14-year-old Savannah in the purple shirt hits the ground. You are looking at the back end of a high-powered rifle.
Shut up.
Lying next to her, still in his school uniform, is her 7-year-old brother, JJ. He was stunned at the sight of an assault rifle.
And they had their finger on a trigger.
Clear in there.
In another room, their 11-year-old sister, Talia, is face down, surrounded by more weapons. Their mother, Crystal Archie, watches for the first time what happened to her children. She was on her way home from work when the raid happened back in April of 2019.
Relax.
Please do not shoot me, please.
You're fine.
You know who's on the floor right there? Can you tell who's on the floor?
My daughter is on the floor. I can hear her. I can hear her yelling. I can hear her yelling. And you just see the guns at the back of her head.
Her oldest child, Savannah, was babysitting.
Come on, get up.
They're handling heavy artillery. It would have taken one slip of your finger, and my children would not be here.
We don't want to see that happen. We don't want to erode the trust with the community.
Now, for the first time, Chicago police are talking about the disturbing trend the CBS 2 investigators exposed, which includes more than 23 children who say police pointed guns at them during wrong raids.
Where did they point the gun at you?
I wanted to like right here, but like straight at it.
Where did they point the rifle?
It was like around.
They pointed a gun at me.
When you saw some of the stories, what did you feel for some of these kids?
Based on the way that the footage was, you felt bad for them.
Chicago Police Lieutenant Matthew Klein and Risk Manager Michelle Morris.
Let's be clear, no child should have a gun pointed in his face.
They say the department is now adding training for officers to deal with children and creating a new search warrant policy aimed at protecting kids from trauma during raids.
How are you going to deal with children?
We're making sure that if we know children to be present, that in our operational planning, that it's discussed that there's going to be children in here.
What good is the plan if the officer, the affiant who's getting the warrant hasn't independently verified, double-checked and triple-checked the informant's information to make sure you're actually going into the right apartment or the right home?
Now, are there some that are not being done to the standards that we have? Absolutely, and that's being addressed.
Lieutenant Klein says there will be more oversight of the search warrant approval process, including a requirement mandating all officers run the proper public record checks through their information center at police headquarters to make sure they are raiding the right addresses.
Things fell through the cracks and they didn't realize that that was the proper way to obtain this information.
Repeated failures to get addresses right, leaving behind a trail of trauma.
This is the saddest moment.
And still, the city is refusing to track these wrong raids, covering up just how big the problem really is. The little bit of data the CBS 2 investigators forced the city to release shows since 2016, police executed 6,800 search warrants. In nearly 3,000 cases, not a single arrest was made. We can't tell you how many of those 3,000 were wrong raids because tonight, even with the new policy in place, They admit they still have no method to track these kinds of wrong raids.
Are you creating any kind of a database for that, for those types of raids?
It has not currently been contemplated, but I mean, it might be in the future.
And while they still won't track all the wrong raids, there are changes requiring body cameras are rolling from start to finish at every single new raid.
It must be on the entire time.
At what point in the raid are they supposed to turn them off?
When they leave.
Which brings us back to the Archie raid, where we found the raid team cut their body cameras off after only 3 minutes. In fact, police stopped recording right after the cameras captured something happening to the children that's not only outrageous, it might even be illegal.
Hey, just tell us, do you know where the stuff's at? Because if you can tell us that, then we're out of here.
And with no parent present,
Over here. Have a seat. Hold your hands like your sister. No, like this. Hold your hands like this. All three of you.
continue questioning.
Any drugs? You know of any drugs that he sells?
Remember, this is the wrong house, and they never even heard of the guy named in the warrant.
So he stopped selling out of here? He stopped keeping it here? Whoever keeps it here? We never had it.
The children say the interrogation continued, followed by a search of the home. But there's no body camera video of that because the sergeant in charge gave this order.
If everybody's secure, we can kill cameras.
The kids say when the police left, they told them they would return.
And there was a real fear from the children that they might come back.
Absolutely. I've literally walked into the apartment and I just cry. And there's no way to feel about going home. And that's my life now.
3 weeks after that raid, police raided the family's home again. We can't show you what happened that time because we are told none of those officers used body cameras. It's been 10 months since those raids, and no one from Internal Affairs or the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, the agency that investigates police misconduct, has reached out to interview Crystal Archie or her kids. The Archies filed a federal lawsuit against CPD about 6 months ago.
So, Dave, this federal lawsuit, it's filed at least 6 months ago. Shouldn't that trigger a COPA investigation?
Historically, that is supposed to trigger a COPA investigation. They aren't commenting, but if they haven't already started an investigation, I'm sure after they just saw what happened here, there's one underway right now.
Yeah, 18 months, CPD has not talked to you. They finally did tonight and completely overhauled their procedures. Good work, Dave.
More work to be done, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you.